Now what the hell is going on here, Will? Why did that mutiny happen?
And also, Bobby Kennedy, the Health and Human Services, will be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex, but that's going to be headed by and handled by Health and Human Services. So I think that'll work out very well. Those two elements will be taken out of the Department of Education, and then all we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education, along with the boards and the governors and the states. And it's going to be a great situation.
On today's episode of What Else Can We Roll Back in 2025? Special needs will now roll under the Human Health Services Department, which RFK Jr. is the head of. Now, RFK Jr. has his own special history in relation to comments with children and individuals with special needs, specifically autism. But Google is your friend. But just wanted to make a quick video on some of the potential impacts of moving special needs funding, basically, from Department of Education under HHS. So let's start off with the positive. What we could have happen is more integrated care, as HHS already manages Medicaid, disability services, and mental health programs. So bringing special needs services under its umbrella could lead to better coordination of healthcare, therapy, and social services. But I highly doubt that. But it's a possibility. It's also a potential for increased funding to go to HHS to accommodate that. But I highly doubt that. Another potential positive thing that could happen is to have a more streamlined services when it comes to requesting and dealing with resources and services available for special needs. You know, some of the red tape might be cut back, making things more easy, but I highly doubt that. Okay, let's get to the cons of moving special needs services under HHS. So this transition, anytime you transition one program under an agency to another, there is almost always the likelihood of delays, confusion, which can mean temporary impacts to services. A big con for me is the potential shift away from educational focus. Moving to HSS could probably and likely mean less emphasis on educational accommodation and support. That is where there's a broad band of requirements and needs and resources available under special needs. But a lot of it is dealing with the accommodations and support of children who learn differently in these classrooms. It's not that they're not intelligent enough to learn. They just need support in a different way. So taking these resources away is going to hinder them and handicap them further in their own journey in the way that they go about learning to live their lives. Another thing, as I was speaking about earlier, is the funding reallocation risks. So that means as they transfer funds and reallocate and redisperse, depending on where they go, those funds for special needs that actually make it to HHS could be spread thin across different health and social programs. And then the funds that go to the state is my understanding that they want to send a lot of this back to the states, depending on what states you live in, could benefit or severely impact services that one is receiving as a special needs family.
This is a very dumb thing to do.
And again, that money goes to the states. Not every state is created equally, so you have some poorer states who will get this funding, and they might potentially be like, hey, we got to make some hard choices on how we're going to reallocate these funds. We have this bucket of funds that could be applied towards the educational system and special needs, but we have a problem with our infrastructure or some other existing issue that the state might have. where they just might take that money and put it over here and give less of it to where it's really it should go. There's, the appropriation at the state level. I mean, who's going to monitor that? Under the Department of Education, there was, I believe, an Office of Civil Rights where they did investigations and handled complaints related to, in addition to students with disabilities of the nation's federally funded schools. So since that's all going away, who's going to do that? Another major concern for me personally is the changes in eligibility or coverage, the impacts that there might be new policies or guidelines that are introduced that where some families won't fit into what is defined as special education or harder to qualify for or maintain services that they previously relied on. Research on students with disabilities. Who's going to continue to do that? Collect that state level data and report up so that we as a nation collectively and our government can know and understand more of how special needs is impacted in our schooling systems, collectively as a nation and also independently as states. So who's going to be doing that? The states ain't going to be doing that. Some states might be doing that, but not all states are going to do that. And, God help those children in states, in raggedy-ass states who those states aren't going to give any care about. I'm just saying.